became Labour leader, two major figures from his team now gone. Speculation, Gareth, about why that's happened. We're not being told why has been gone. Some in government think that the man on the screen, a veteran of the private sector communications industry, who started his career working for Tony Blair back in 1996, 1997. Some think that he has gone because he too was close to Peter Mandelson. Others think that he wasn't happy with the restructure and the promotion of two of the deputy chiefs of staff, Vidya Alaxon and Jill Cuthbertson, to acting chief of staff roles after the departure of Morgan McSweeney. We will see. But as I say, a terse statement from Tim Allen, nothing yet from the Prime Minister, despite extensive work on other matters being released. So we will see where this goes.
What does this tell us, Sam, about the factions within Number 10 and the party more broadly?
What's interesting, Gareth, is that broadly speaking, Morgan McSweeney was from one driving part of the party, seen as Blue Labour, but Tim Allen, an old Blairite, was seen from another. Yet both factions have seen a significant departure in the last 24 hours, as people try to size up where this Number 10 will go next. Really, the criticism of Keir Starmer is that he doesn't have enough politics, enough grip on the direction of the government, and has subcontracted that to the major beasts around him. Now the two biggest beasts around him have gone. It's unclear what's going to happen. So much depends on his appearance before the Parliamentary Labour Party this evening. We wait to see how that goes down.
You talk about that appearance before the Parliamentary Labour Party. When we've talked about appearances in front of the Conservative backbenches for Conservative Prime Ministers, it's generally a crucible, isn't it, of discontent at times. And they're not afraid to kind of let that rip. And we've seen the Conservative Party churn through leaders at times in recent politics. What are the backbenchers like in their relationship within the Labour Party and Number 10 of the Prime Minister? How is that relationship at the moment? And is it as maybe brutal as it is on the opposite side of the aisle?
It's absolutely brutal. It's seething amongst large parts of the parliamentary party in that attitude to what's going on in Number 10. There are some seething about the way that the Prime Minister appointed Peter Mandelson despite known links to paedophile Epstein. There's seething amongst other parts of the Parliamentary Labour Party that this Prime Minister just never seems to be able to get a grip, just perpetually throwing others under the bus in an eternal quest to reset and find a new direction, but never quite manages it. There's seething that a huge landslide majority, which was won in 2024, has been squandered in the view of many. I can promise you, Gareth, the attitude is not happy, but there is one thing keeping him in his place, and that is that there is no clear successor. Nobody yet has moved against him. There are challenges with each of the possible contenders who are often talked about, and in this circular firing squad, nobody has yet pulled the trigger. We just have a lot of bad blood, and I think the manner of Tim Allen's departure, which, one Keir Starmer ally says blood boiling at the way that he's just put up a golfing club and a golf ball and a golf course as he's out of office, barely an hour after his departure. There is some serious loathing going on inside Downing Street, none of which is going to help smooth Keir Starmer's path towards resetting his government, as he keeps suggesting he wants to do.
Mr. Keir Starmer, a relative technocrat, as we were saying, rather than perhaps a huge people person when it comes to inspiring sometimes the electorate or sometimes his own party. How much is that going to be a challenge for him now to try and kind of beat his own drum and convince people to follow that lead?
Look, let's put the optimistic case for Keir Starmer. I think the polling suggests that if there was a change of leader, the public would, there is no evidence that the public would prefer that to the incumbent, and that things could get worse for Labour MPs. A contest could have ramifications in the bond markets as they work out whether a new leader would mean more borrowing. Given that Keir Starmer was elected with a landslide majority, there isn't necessarily a democratic case for changing leader. So I think all of that points to the fact that it is not yet absolutely clear that changing leader will help the predicament of the Labour Party, however unpopular Keir Starmer and however hard he has tried to reset his government without much success.
Sam Coates, our Deputy Political Editor. So good to have you with us. Thank you for your hospitality. Also today, depending on the politics of live blog, running as you speak, bringing together all of those elements of the day. Story. It'll be a crucial week. It will be a crucial week for the PM. As we can hear it, meeting the parliamentary labour party later today at a time when many of his own MPs are calling on him to let's mind the events that brought us to where we're at now. Lord Mandelson took up the role of US Ambassador in February last year and was sacked by the Prime Minister in September after his links to Jeffrey Epstein were exposed. The latest batch of files was released by the US Department of Justice 10 days ago that suggests that Epstein sent $75,000 to Lord Mandelson between 2003 and 2004. Lord Mandelson resigned his membership of the Labour Party just days later to avoid causing what he called further embarrassment. Last week, the Metropolitan Police confirming a criminal investigation was launched into allegations that he leaked sensitive market information to Epstein. Two of Mandelson's addresses have been searched as part of that investigation. Following an apology from the Prime Minister, he said he regretted appointing him to the US Embassy job. Yesterday, the Chief of Staff, Morgan Sweeney, to the Prime Minister, who many blamed for that appointment of Mandelson, resigned. Mr. Sweeney, a friend of Mandelson, and said he pushed for him to get the role. Let's bring James here, Deputy Political Editor at The Spectator. James, it's quite a long background you have to get to get where we are today.
Of course, the political pain of the Mandelson affair is not yet done. Of course, the political pain of the Mandelson affair is not yet done. We've got to see what happened to the electoral motion last week to encourage the use of all those documents and whether
Right, you're on now.
And so I do lots of difficult, broad conversations over the next 48 hours, which may well include a ministerial resignation.
The challenge that the contenders to number 10 have is that Keir can point to some degree and say, look, we brought a large majority, landslide majority, as a result of my leadership. Now, people also voted against the Conservatives a bit, but there was a large majority whilst he was PM. And then also now have to look amongst their own ranks and go, well, who's the contender? We've been talking about that over the last couple of hours, certainly, and more broadly in recent days. There isn't a natural successor. Andy Burnham closing out that process to potentially become an MP. We've got the issues that surround West Streeting because many see him as being close to Mandelson. And Lorena, potential contender, but she's got her own kind of more personal challenges that kind of follow her too. So is all of that maybe a little bit of reprieve for the Prime Minister? Might he be able to utilise a little bit of his own currency? That a lot of those MPs up in the north have their role because of that win in 2024, and that there's not really anyone currently who can, with a degree of validity, fight against him.
Yes, certainly. I mean, we've had weak Prime Ministers been on before. You think of Theresa May between 2017 and 2019. What did for her was that massive defeat at the European elections. So that's why I think my assumption for this week, and a lot of MPs' assumptions, was that after May, that would be a kind of key trigger point after that contest. But I think what MPs can understand is panic and disorder. And what we have seen in the past week or so is the government not only controlling events, outsourcing a lot of that to things like the police, which are now investigating, and not really giving any sense of anyone sort of steering the ship. And so now that staff are going, I question, I think, how many others might go as well. Is it just going to be Tim Allen because it's linked potentially to Lord Mandelson, or is it going to be others now following in terms of government as well? So I think that as long as number 10 you get a grip on this and can take some of the heat out of it, that's their best strategy. But right now it doesn't feel like that way. Talking to some people in the Labour Party who are turning on each other, and some of them look like rats in the sack and blaming each other and talk about who did what and when in the appointment of Mandelson.
Turning on each other, rats in the sack, and then you listen to the comments that Sam Coates before you were saying, our Deputy Political Editor, the polling generally shows that the public, the electorate, don't want any of this. So you get a sense that the parliamentarians in Westminster look beyond Westminster and go, hang on a second, the public doesn't want any of this, they want us to keep calm and carry on. Perhaps, maybe, that's what we should do.
That is very much going to be number 10's argument. And I think a lot of people concluded from the last parliament was that you can only change your leader once if you wish to do so. Because I think what really did for the Conservatives was having a change of leader twice, while not actually referring that back to the electorate. And of course, people such as Lorraine were very much in the forefront of that election at that time. The key question, of course, is having those sort of scandals which offend the sensibilities of individual Labour MPs. So I think this is why the Mandelson affair has through so rawly in such a visceral way because Labour MPs viewed themselves as being the champions of, leading against violence against women and girls, and they were disgusted by what's happened. So I think that sense of disgust is what's so clear. Some scandals, some issues that can be a bit technical, policy, etc. There can be disagreement, but I think this really cuts the core of what many of them believe to be the heart of Labour values.
Final quick question for you, James. The venerable Ivan Bolton last hour said that there was a 50-50 chance for the next 48 hours for Sir Keir Starmer. Where do your odds lie at the moment?
Well, he's an ardent Remainer, isn't he? So maybe I'd say 52-48. But I basically agree with the great Adam Bolton, and I just say I think that getting a good grip on this, taking the heat out of it, are going to be key. And the Prime Minister tonight has to give a political speech of his life.
James, you're good to have you with us. Appreciated. And well, let's get a little bit more political reaction. The Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, has revealed that some Labour MPs have spoken to her about the lack of confidence in Sir Keir Starmer. Take a listen.
Keir Starmer is not running the government. He's like a plastic bag blowing in the wind. We need him to get a grip, and if he can't do it, then someone else in the Labour Party needs to do that, or they should have an election.
Are Labour MPs approaching you about a vote of no confidence in the Commons?
Well, you remember last week I asked that Labour MPs come to us if they want a vote of no confidence. A few people have sent indications. I can't say any more than that because obviously I don't want to break any confidences. But this is a Labour Party that has given up pretty much on Keir Starmer. They need to start thinking about what it is that they are offering the country. If they have no better alternative, then they need to get a grip and start governing. They need to start making people's lives better. The economy is going backwards. Unemployment is increasing every single month. Young people leaving university can't get jobs. That's what I want to talk about. That's why I'm standing here in a pub today talking about the issues that matter to your viewers. What's Labour talking about? Themselves. I think the resignation of the communications director is yet another sign that Keir Starmer has lost control of his government. He is in office but not in power. He is completely at the mercy of Labour MPs, who, let's be frank, has not been voting his way since the new term on the Child Benefit Act. He has no control. This communications director, the new communications director, we only got in September. This is all lit by his government. He needs to get a grip. The country is not being governed. They have no time at all to look at the problems that are out there. They're only focused on their internal problems. And it's my job to hold them to account. And what I say is that unemployment is increasing every single month. People out there are struggling. What are you doing about it? He's not doing anything at all. He went to China just last week. He was supposed to do something to help Jimmy Lai. Jimmy Lai has now been sentenced to an extra 20 years. That is an unbelievable failure of diplomacy on the part of the Prime Minister. He cannot get anything done. And the communications director meeting is just yet another sign that everything is falling apart. It is time for Labour to get a grip.
Let's bring in former Labour advisor Max Wilson. Max, good to see you. What do you make of this line from the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, saying that some Labour MPs have spoken to her about their lack of confidence in Sir Keir?
I think it's very much in Kemi's interest to be using that line, and I think maybe a pinch of salt is required here. But I think anybody looking at what's happening at the moment can see that this is a troubling period for the Labour Party and the Labour Government.
Troubling.
Been expressing that concern either privately or publicly over the last few weeks. So in that sense, that's unexpected.
Where are we? Let's have a mooch. Boosting me watch hours. I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden.
Is in itself causing some of the political problems that we're seeing, and that's been realised, as it were, by some of the changes that happened over the last 24 pressure is now starting to come to the boil, frankly. And as much as the Prime Minister is trying to stabilise the government at the moment, Parliamentary Labour Party meets every Monday evening. That's the Parliamentary Labour Party meets every Monday evening. That's all Labour MPs as well as peers are invited as well. And it's a forum for them privately to be able to talk about successes, but also express concerns and also ask questions leading cabinet